Blue Origin just lost more than a rocket. They lost the only place on Earth they had to launch one. Around 9 p.m. Eastern on May 28th, the Florida coast lit up like a second sunrise. Cameras at Cape Canaveral were already rolling. Live-stream chat rooms were already counting down. And a 321-foot machine called New Glenn was sitting on its pad, fully fueled, waiting for 7 of the most powerful methane engines ever built to ignite. A static fire test. The engines fire for a few seconds. The rocket stays bolted to the ground. Data gets reviewed. If everything looks clean, you launch next week. New Glenn's 4th mission was scheduled for June 4th. 1 week away. Load waiting in a clean room across Florida was 48 Amazon satellites, the first batch in a contract worth billions. Bezos was preparing to deliver. Then his rocket disagreed. The rocket was gone. The pad was gone. The transporter erector, the giant scaffold that rolls the rocket from the hangar to the pad, gone. The lightning protection towers surrounding the pad vaporized. The explosion was visible from highways miles inland. Homes in Cape Canaveral shook. Windows rattled in Cocoa Beach. The ground moved under people watching television. By Friday morning, Blue Origin was warning Florida beachgoers that rocket debris might wash ashore in the coming days. That is how large the blast was. Pieces of the rocket were still landing. LC-36, Launch Complex 36, was not just a launch pad. It was the only orbital launch pad Blue Origin had on Earth. And it is gone. Before we talk about what was lost, you need to understand what New Glenn actually was. Because most coverage treats this like a single bad night for a single company. It wasn't. New Glenn is Blue Origin's orbital rocket. Heavy lift, the category that actually matters, for commercial satellites, for national security, for the moon. It stands 321 feet tall, taller than the Statue of Liberty from base to torch. Its first stage runs on 7 BE-4 engines. Each one produces around 640,000 pounds of thrust at sea level. They burn liquid methane and liquid oxygen in an oxygen-rich staged combustion cycle. One of the most powerful and complex engine designs ever put into production. Blue Origin spent over a decade and at least $2.5 billion building this machine. New Glenn flew for the first time in January 2025. By May, they were on Mission 4. The program was gaining momentum. And then there was the pad. Blue Origin spent over $1 billion rebuilding LC-36 from scratch. They demolished the original structure, which dated back to 1962, and built one massive new complex in its place. Finished in 2021. The first newly rebuilt orbital launch complex at the Cape since the 1960s. It was engineered entirely around New Glenn. The dimensions, the weight, the flame trench, the propellant systems, everything designed for this one rocket. There was no backup pad, no secondary site, no West Coast option. There was LC-36, and that was the whole plan. So when the rocket lit on Thursday night, and the upper stage started to tilt, and the entire stack went, Blue Origin did not lose a launch vehicle. It lost its entire ability to fly, all of it, at once. Here is the part that makes Thursday night even worse. This was not New Glenn's first serious problem in 2025. On April 19th, just 6 weeks earlier, New Glenn's third mission ended with a stranded satellite. The mission was called Bluebird 7. The payload was an AST spacemobile satellite, a company building space-based cell towers that beam mobile service directly to your phone from orbit. Expensive hardware. Irreplaceable hardware. The first stage flew well. It even came back and landed on a drone ship in the Atlantic. That was the kind of thing Blue Origin badly needed to prove. Reusable first stages are the only way to compete with SpaceX on cost. But the upper stage failed. A cryogenic leak. Liquid oxygen, colder than anything found in nature, leaked somewhere it should not have been and froze a hydraulic line solid. The engine could not gimbal properly. The thrust pointed the wrong direction. The satellite was released into an orbit nobody wanted. Drifting somewhere it cannot do the job it was built for. The FAA grounded New Glenn, ordered an investigation, identified 9 corrective actions. On May 27th, the FAA officially cleared New Glenn to return to flight. Think about that timing. Return to flight clearance. May 28th. Rocket explodes on the pad. Less than 36 hours after being declared safe to fly, New Glenn destroyed itself and the only launch pad it had on Earth. The FAA will tell you static fire tests fall outside their jurisdiction. Technically correct. What they will not say is that the agency had just cleared a rocket whose full engine stack had never been tested on this pad. Thursday night answered that question for everyone. The engine problem nobody wants to discuss. Here is where this story stops being just about Blue Origin. The BE-4 engine. 7 of them powered New Glenn's first stage. Blue Origin announced this engine in 2014. It did not fly until 2024. 10 years. The development was plagued with explosions, redesigns, and delays. The company never fully explained publicly. On June 30th, 2023, a BE-4 detonated 10 seconds into a ground test, damaged the test stand, forced another investigation, more changes, more time lost. Eventually, the engine flew. It worked. The program moved forward, but here is the detail that changes everything. The BE-4 also powers United Launch Alliance's Vulcan Centaur rocket. Same engine, same hardware, same design, same production line. Vulcan uses 2 per flight instead of 7. But they are identical machines, and Vulcan Centaur is not a commercial rocket. It carries Department of Defense payloads, Space Force satellites, intelligence assets, missile warning systems. The national security missions the United States cannot delay, cannot reschedule, and in many cases cannot even publicly discuss. If the investigation finds a BE-4 failure at the root of Thursday's explosion, the consequences do not stop at Blue Origin. ABE-4 grounding stops New Glenn. It also stops Vulcan, and it leaves America's heavy lift launch capability, military and civilian, running on a single provider. The investigation has not blamed the engines yet. The cause is still being pieced together from telemetry and the molten remains of a launch pad. It could be a valve failure, a software fault, a propellant system problem, a structural issue with the pad itself. But every hour that passes without a definitive answer keeps the worst-case scenario on the table. Now, let's talk about the satellites that were supposed to be on that rocket. They weren't on board during the static fire test. That is the one piece of good news in this entire story. 48. Amazon Kuiper satellites sitting in a clean room across Florida. They survived Thursday night. But they have nowhere to go. Amazon has spent $10 billion building Project Kuiper, its satellite internet constellation designed to compete directly with Starlink. SpaceX's Starlink has over 7,600 satellites in orbit right now. It serves more than 10 million paying subscribers. Amazon has between 210 and 241 satellites up, depending on which week you count. And the FCC requires Amazon to have 1,618 satellites in orbit by July 30th, 2026. That is 14 months away. Amazon contracted 24 New Glenn launches from Blue Origin. NG-4, the mission that just exploded on the pad, was Launch 1, the first 48 satellites, the beginning of the entire manifest. There is no Launch 1 anymore. The other 23 contracted missions are sitting in a queue, waiting for a launch pad that does not exist. Amazon has already filed for a 2-year FCC extension. It has not been granted. Now picture Andy Jassy's Thursday night. You run one of the largest companies on Earth. You have committed $10 billion to building a global satellite network. Your single biggest launch partner is a company owned by the man who founded your own company. You have spent years coordinating manifest schedules, building factories, training ground teams. Then, a live stream from Florida lights up your phone, a fireball. Your launch partner's only pad, in flames. That is Andy Jassy's Thursday night. The moon was watching. 2 days before the explosion, on May 26th, NASA announced nearly $1 billion in new moon base contracts. Blue Origin was on the list. $188 million, with an option for $280 million more, for the delivery of 2 lunar terrain vehicles to the moon's south pole. Rovers. The machines that will drive across ground Apollo never reached. The wheels that will leave the first American tracks on the lunar surface in over 50 years. Blue Origin won that contract on May 26th. Their rocket exploded on May 28th. 48 hours, and the problem runs deeper than the rover contract. The Blue Moon. Mark 1 lander, the vehicle designed to carry those rovers to the lunar surface, launches on top of New Glenn. The Artemis 3 low Earth orbit demonstration of Blue Moon is scheduled for mid-2027. The actual surface mission targets late 2025. And Artemis 4, the mission that puts American astronauts back on the moon for the first time since 1972, depends on Blue Moon to land them. The current target for Artemis 4 is 2028. NASA Administrator Jared Isaacman posted a careful statement on Friday morning. He said the agency was aware of the anomaly. He said they would support a thorough investigation. He said spaceflight is unforgiving. He did not say that the Artemis 3 demonstration depends on New Glenn. He did not say that the Moonbase rover mission depends on New Glenn. He did not say that the mission that will put boots on the moon depends on Blue Moon, which depends on New Glenn. He did not have to. The Artemis program was originally supposed to land by 2024, then 2025, then 2026. Every single one of those slips happened before Thursday night. Now add this. Here is a number worth sitting with. Blue Origin had planned 8 to 12 New Glenn launches in 2026. SpaceX has between 140 and 145 launches planned for the same year. That gap was already enormous before Thursday night. It just got wider by every single Blue Origin launch remaining on the calendar. When Elon Musk responded on Friday morning, he posted 7 words. Most unfortunate. Rockets are hard. True statement. Also the comment of a man who watched his biggest competitor lose its only launch pad on live television and answered with a shrug. You can feel the weight of those 7 words. Compare this to September 2016. A SpaceX Falcon 9 exploded during fueling at Pad 40. It destroyed the rocket. It destroyed an expensive Israeli communications satellite riding on top of it. The fleet was grounded for 3.5 months. The pad was out of action for over a year. SpaceX had options. They moved launches to Pad 39A at Kennedy Space Center. They used Vandenberg in California. They kept flying. Blue Origin does not have options. There is no Pad 39A. There is no Vandenberg. There is LC-36. And LC-36 is gone. Based on the 2016 precedent, you are looking at a minimum of 1 year before that pad hosts another rocket, possibly 2. The investigation first, then the physical rebuild, then the recertification, then, finally, flight. A New Glenn costs somewhere between $68 and $110 million per flight. The whole program has cost at least $2.5 billion to reach this point. In 30 seconds on Thursday night, the rocket, the pad, the transporter, the infrastructure, the launch slot, the customer confidence, the momentum, all of it gone. Let's zoom out one final time. The United States effectively has 2 heavy lift launch providers, SpaceX and Blue Origin. That is it. The Department of Defense, NASA, Amazon, every commercial satellite operator that needs orbit, they all depend on one of those 2 companies. When one of them loses its only pad on a night that should have been routine, the entire American launch architecture wobbles. And someone else noticed. China's crewed lunar mission is targeting 2030. They have said so publicly. And unlike America, they have been hitting their milestones on schedule. Tiangong, their space station, is built and crewed. They have landed on the far side of the moon, something the United States has never done. Their lunar lander program is advancing. Their engines are tested. Their launch facilities at Wenchang and Jiuquan are operational. Their timeline depends entirely on their own infrastructure. Their infrastructure is not currently scattered across a Florida beach. Somewhere in Beijing on Friday morning, someone watched that video of the explosion on a screen and asked one question. How long before America catches up to where they thought they would be last week? The honest answer, from the people who track this for a living, is somewhere between several months and several years. Every day that LC-36 is dark is a day the gap closes.